Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing great. So in my today's video, I'm going to discuss with you about a company called Aeroflex Industries Ltd. I've already made a video on this before. So over here, please stay till end of the video, because in this video, you're going to see that how a new product which a company enters, right, how it changes their fortune and what does it mean for Aeroflex industry, right? So over here, I'll go through, in brief about the products that they make, the industries that they serve, go through the result and see the new product that, last year at the end of they which they launched and which they've entered into, how it is changing their whole fortune. And I'm going to prove you that with the approximate numbers. Okay, so let's get into it. So if you look at Aeroflex Industries, right, so they are into manufacturing multiple hoses and assembly fittings, bellows and everything. So if you look at the screen over here, right, so you can see their product. They have stainless steel corrugated flexible hoses, assemblies and fittings, metal bellows and composite hoses and interlock hoses. So the product that you see at liquid cooling solution, and they have recently entered, and this is the product which I'm talking about, right? I'm going to talk about more further in detail. So these are the various products, that they manufacture. And if you look at the screen over here, right? So these are the various industries where they, sell their products to. So these are their traditional sectors, which are steel and metal, oil and gas, petrochemicals, bulk terminal handling, chemical, food, paper and pulp, right? And these are the new emerging sector where they are getting into it, right? Data centers, robotics or automation, semiconductors, hydrogen, electric mobility, HVAC, fire and supply solution, aerospace and defense and solars, right? So these are the these are the various industries that their products are used for. And I really like their logo, or their tagline, which they say, wherever there's a critical flow, Aeroflex leads the way. So it clearly shows, right, wherever there is a critical flow in the industry which are happening, they manufacture these products which are used over. And you have already seen the various kinds of products. So let's get into the results, look at the numbers and see how the company is doing and how their new product, which is liquid cooling solution products that they're making, right, how is it helping them out. So if you look at their numbers, right, it's literally they have hit out of the park. If you look at their revenue from Q1 of FY27 compared to Q1 of FY26, they have grown by almost 72.4% to 84.67, sorry, 145.97 crores. And if you look at their profit after tax also, they have grown by almost 162.22% to 18.79. So over here, they are not just able to increase their revenue, but they're getting great operating leverage. Because if you look at their margins, right, the EBITDA margins improved from 18.35% to 23.4%, and their PAT margin also increased by more than 50% from 8.46% to 12.57%. So the numbers really good over here. What they have done, right, they have mentioned something as cash profit also, which if you look at it, right, the cash profit, if you compare to the last year, it has grown by almost 103%, and the cash margin also has improved from 15.47%. You might be asking, Masood, what is the difference between cash profit and profit after tax? See, we need to understand in an income statement, right, when the overall expense is calculated, depreciation is also included into it. It is not an actual money that the company is spending, but as per the rules and regulations of the accounting standard, whatever manufacturing, the equipments that the company has, they have to provide depreciation for that. So after providing the depreciation, then only the profit after tax comes, right? But that's not an actual expense. The cash is still there with the company. So what happens in cash profit, what they're talking about, right, they add the depreciation back, which was around close to around 7 point some crores, which comes up to around 26.64 crores. So in terms of cash profit, if you see, they have done almost close to 26.64%, and compared to last year, it has grown by almost 103%, right? So overall, if you look at these numbers alone, from income to profit margin, right, they have done extremely and extremely well. And if you look at there are further details, right, from which are the product segment where the revenue is coming from, the exports, the domestic export mix, and the geographical split of exports. So if you look at the first side in the product segment, right, so if you look at Q1 of FY26, right, so the revenue that they received was only from their SS flexible hoses and with and without braiding, and the second was assemblies and others. And if you look at the third product, which is SFN skid assembly, which is used for liquid cooling in data centers, that was not there at all. Now, if you see over here, this year alone, that has contributed to 23% of the revenue, right? So this product, which was literally not there in last year, Q1 of FY27, which the company started manufacturing, I think in the last year of Q3, where they just entered into it. And now if you look just 1 year down the line, right, this product is alone contributing to 23% of the revenue. So that means the demand is high, and the product that they've got into it is like, it's also margin accretive. So that is the first thing. And if you look at their domestic and export mix, right? So if you see last year, majority of the revenue was from export, and domestic was around 28%. But if you look at this year, right, it has almost become, it has the domestic revenue mix has increased to 42%, and the how to say the export has come down to 58%, but that doesn't mean the growth has not happened, right? It only shows that the growth on the domestic side has been done more. If you look over here, right, the domestic sorry, the domestic segment grew by almost 163%, whereas export grew by almost 42.6%. This clearly shows, right, that the SFN skid assemblies that they're selling to data centers, right, is not happening in the export market, but majority happening on the domestic market. And if you look at the geographical split, it almost still remains if you look in terms of America, it remains the same from 59 to 57%. The other thing is, right, the Europe segment has grown from 23 to 33 sorry, to 33%, right? So over here, as I spoke to you about the, SFN skid assemblies, right? So SFN is nothing but it's called secondary fluid network. So that is what making the main changes. So over here, there is a chart which is given by the company in the investor presentation, which shows where this product comes into picture into the data center and how is it helping them. So if you look over here at the screen, right? So we all know the data center is the mega trend, and obviously data center requires high density computing, and we all have used computers, laptops and everything, and we know when we use it regularly with with which requires lot of how to say information and lot of RAM requirement, right? The laptop gets heated, right? The laptop, the computer gets heated, and obviously there is a cooling system, which air cooling system, which normally cools down, right? So over here also in data centers, normally air cooling used to happen. But what is happening, right? Air cooling is limited and it cannot do much more. So what is happening right now in data centers, right? They are shifting from the traditional air cooling side to liquid cooling. And if you look over here, the market opportunity, right, for global liquid cooling market, it is saying that for the next 8 years, it will grow at a CAGR of 33.2%, and direct to chip market cooling products will grow by almost 35%. So over here, if you look at that, where the company's role is, it's into providing the critical fluid transfer. So there's liquid skid assemblies which are there, right? So they help this liquid to flow through it properly. And it's not like they just provide the one part. If you look over here, right, it clearly says that it's end-to-end SFN flow solutions. So this is where their product is being used for, and obviously it's a new product category for them. It has higher content, and obviously it is a long-term potential, because if you clearly look over here, right, it clearly shows in terms of market opportunity, it can grow by almost 35% CAGR for the next another 7 years. And if we look at their so obviously we know there's a market opportunity. We know that the things are going. Let's see what the company is doing in order to cater to these needs. So if you look at this, the liquid cooling skid assembly slide, depending upon how the volume is increasing on the side over here, right? So what is happening, right? Last year in Q3 FY26, the capacity that they, the volume that they sold was around 46. In Q4 FY26, they sold only around 571. But if you look at Q1 of FY27, they sold almost 1,040, this liquid cooling skid assembly size. And if you look over here, right, these assemblies that they make, right, they have various price points. And if you, it starts from 1,10,000 to all, and on the lower side, and the higher side, it goes up to around 5,50,000. So over here, if you look at it, right, earlier, the average selling price overall was around 4,98,000. Now it has come down to 3,11,000. That doesn't mean something has gone wrong. It means that they are earlier they might be making only the very the complicated and the most expensive one. But now, as the demand is increasing, they are mixing it overall from high to low, and the average selling prices close to around 3 lakh. 3,11,000. So if you look at it, last year the revenue contribution in Q3 was only around 2.3 crores. Now it has grown up to almost 32.4 crores. That is almost grown more than 10 times. So that is one thing. So let's see what the and if you look at the picture over here, right? So this is the picture of the data center, and if you look over here, this is the actual the whole liquid cooling skid assemblies which the company manufactures and sells it, right? And if the demand is there and so much is there, let's see what the company is doing in order to increase their production, increase their overall production. So if you look at their ongoing capacity expansion, and I'll take you through their traditional business as well as through the liquid cooling skid assembly also. So currently for their stainless steel flexible hoses, so their current capacity is around 17.5 million meters as of Q1 of FY27, and they want to increase it to 20 million meters. So that is there. And then in terms of liquid skid assembly, if you see currently, as of at the end of Q1 of FY27, they have a capacity of around 9,000, and they want to increase it to close to around 15,000 by end of Q3 FY27. That is almost a growth of more than 60%. So here they are trying to, capture the market and increase the capacity so that as and when the demand increases, right, they are able to fulfill that demand, because at the end of Q4 of FY26, their capacity was around 6,000. In the Q1 of FY27, they added around 3,000, and obviously in the next 2 quarters, they're going to add 3,000 more, so which will take up to the 15,000 capacity. And if you look, and if as we saw the screen earlier, right, so in Q1 of FY27, they sold only 1,000 of this liquid cooling assembly, but by the end of Q3 of FY27, the total capacity would be around 15,000. That means the capacity is there, and they have a huge, like almost like they can increase their sales by almost close to 10 to 15 times. And if I look at this number, right, let's say at the end of Q3 FY27, the capacity increases to 15,000, and they're able to sell these 15,000 cooling assemblies going forward. With the average price I will take is what was earlier around 3,11,000. They can do a revenue from this liquid, this liquid cooling skid assembly to close to around 466 crores. And if you look at their revenue for full year of FY26 was around 442 crores. So that means that this new product, which is liquid cooling skid assembly, right, it has a capacity at full capacity that it can literally match the whole year revenue of the last year. So this has great potential, and obviously that's why the management is concentrating over there and trying to grow it. So now the important thing is, so they're increasing the capacity. They increased from 6,000 to 9,000. Now from 9,000 they're planning to increase to 15,000. So that is one good thing of increasing the capacity. But at the same time, we need to see how the capacity is being utilized, because the revenue increment will come to the business only when this capacity is being, and the way the data centers explosion is happening, and obviously the way the whole business, they are shifting from air cooling to liquid cooling, right? Personally, I don't see it as a challenge for them to fulfill this demand, but obviously that is the future. But we have to wait and see how things work out. In short, if I look at the result was great. The company did really great, and their new product, which is a liquid cooling skid assembly, right, they're contributing in a very good way. And at a full capacity, they can literally match the FY26 revenue of 442 crores. So that was all from my side. And if you guys like this video, please do hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and God bless you.